Hey, Chicago, what do you say? This is the CHGO Cubs Ice Cream Social presented by PointsBet. Use the promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Luke Stuckmeyer, Ryan Herrera, Cody Delmendo, Ice Cream Social 1.0. Cubs lose to the Dodgers 5-3, but we almost made the midnight mark. Almost made it, but we are into Friday. Happy Friday, everyone. Cubs lose the first of this series. They made it interesting at the end. Knocking Kimbrel out of the game was fun.
Spin zone.
I don't know what Velasquez was looking at, Cody. I know you're like, what was he looking at that last pitch? It was right there.
It was perfect. It was a fastball too, right? Like it wasn't even a breaking pitch.
It looked like a four-seamer to me. I don't know. I was.
I mean,
that's not why they lost the game, but
not
like,
at all.
Not why
four-seamer on the corner.
Could have covered. I'm more mad about my bet losing.
You just needed one more wild pitch.
Needed one more wild pitch.
Cover on that one.
The parlay almost hit, man.
There you go.
But whatever. Hey, at least they did make it interesting, and hey, we asked for competitive this year. That was a competitive game, so whatever.
It was actually kind of a boring game.
It was pretty boring. I ate a lot of ice cream.
We each had 2 full bowls of ice cream for the Ice Cream Social. I give Mark Leiter credit. I mean, he wasn't very good. 5 innings, 4 earned runs, 3 home runs. Mm-hmm. But at least he kept it. I mean, after the first guy homers to start the game, at least he kept it to that and kept them in it to the point where there was a chance at the end for the Cubs to be, at least in this game. It could have really spiraled out of control.
Yeah. Well,
give him a few innings.
Yeah, because was the second pitch of the game, I think, was
first or second pitch.
Was when Betts hit that home run off Leiter, and we're kind of like, oh, here we go. And they got the 2 more in the second off Gavin Luck's homer. And then Mark Leiter, not he settled in, but he got through 5. Gave some innings for a rotation that's down to like him and Adrian, guys that weren't even on the radar coming in.
And against the Dodgers.
Against the Dodgers. I mean, it's kind of what it is. I mean, the point of it is like being competitive, and I guess you could say that. Like, it's not like I never felt like the Cubs were really in it, but I also didn't feel like the Dodgers were just like overpowering them the whole time. It was some home runs that really just put the game away. But it was a fairly boring game up there until the 9th inning. What
do you guys think about what David's saying in the chat? Thanks to anyone who's sticking around for the chat late at night. David says, interesting decision by Ross to go with Velasquez instead of Higgins, who just had the game-winning hit the day before.
I disagree. I like Nelson Velasquez getting there. I mean, he's got insane power. We've seen it throughout the minor leagues. I know he's young, but I understand Higgins got the hit yesterday, but I mean, I don't know. It is what it is. I don't know if it's hindsight's 2020 in that situation. Me personally, I'm glad that Velasquez got the at bat,
got the opportunity,
or the opportunity. Yeah.
I mean, when we didn't know who was coming in, we were thinking it might be Higgins, but
and he's played well since he's been with the Cubs. Like it's it's not like he was in the beginning of some sort of bad stretch or anything like that. So. Is what it is. If you want to call it questionable, fine, but it was a righty versus a lefty.
Yeah.
If Kimbrel would have stayed in, they probably would have still let Rivas bat. So I don't know. That again, I get it just because what Higgins in terms of recent games, but that doesn't bother me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, yeah, like you said, it's not like Nelson Velasquez is like a poor hitter going through I guess his WRC plus is still 110 even after that at bat. I mean, maybe like we were talking about, like we thought it was going to be Higgins just based on the fact that he had the game-winning hit. His WRC plus is at 149 right now on his season through 76 plate appearances. Like maybe that was the option. Trying to think about why Ross went Velasquez. I mean, like I don't think, like you said, Cody, it's not like you're sitting there and you can criticize a decision in hindsight. It's like, oh, you should have gone Higgins, but I don't think Nelson Velasquez was a bad option there either, So,
yeah. At the end of the day, like Luke said, that at bat, that's not the reason they lost.
No, not at
I think
all.
the reason they lost is nothing against Mark Leiter. He actually put together a solid start. Gave you 5 innings, gave up the 4 runs though, and like it wasn't.
The home runs beat him.
Yeah, the home runs beat him. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. Like we've seen worse starts for sure, and the Dodgers had their number 1 guy go today.
Yeah,
I mean,
one of the best pitchers in the majors
yeah,
right
and this
now.
is the Dodgers we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like everyone was laughing at me on pregame for having any kind of optimism, and whatever. We got what we all expected. To me, again, like I said, we asked for competitive. They gave us a competitive baseball game.
Yeah.
That was the best game they played against the Dodgers. Out of the games they played at Wrigley this year, like they were much harder to watch then. So
I mean, choosing
whatever.
Velasquez to bat there didn't bother me. What bothered me was the goofball behind home plate doing the Kimbrel double-armed monster
Oh, my
thing
God.
Yes, I
every
agree.
pitch. 31 pitches we saw this guy behind home plate doing the double Kimbrel arm thing.
That's what I said. Like just the face and the look. I'm like, that's what I see in my nightmares when I wake up in a cold sweat and I'm screaming. My parents
It's
are running
that
like,
guy.
what's wrong? It's because that's what I just
that
saw.
guy.
That just
Yeah.
scared me to death.
Let's get to who you got. Let's get it out of the way. What do you think? Because I still say it's a competitive. I made it competitive there at the end.
So did I.
Now, clearly Morel had the early lead with the 2-run homer.
Yeah.
My guy had the final RBI of the game and was on base still at the end.
Well, Hap had the only multi-hit performance of the game for the Cubs. Scored that run that you're talking about. You're talking about Suzuki scoring the RBI. Well, if Hap's not running full speed from first, probably doesn't get in, right?
Yeah.
Well, none of those things matter if Morel doesn't hit the homer.
Yeah, but Hap
with
also
Cody.
had the sliding. You guys are forgetting about the defense. Hap had that sliding catch in left field.
I did pay
really
for
good.
the ice cream.
Sports Center top 10.
For the ice cream.
Luke's going to throw that in my face. He did pay for the ice cream.
Did pay for the ice
He
cream.
Did pay for the ice cream.
Point.
Someone.
We'll give it to
I want
Cody.
to know what the chat.
Yeah,
thinks.
Cody gets
I
it.
feel
It's
like-
Morel. It's the 2-run homer.
I'll allow Cody to claim this one.
All right.
Jack R
Glad
is
to know that
strongly
we are-
in your
we are
corner.
fair here.
What are we at? 13-9-9 right now? Something like that?
13-9-9.
Yeah,
I
definitely
lead.
wouldn't say he won easily, but he
Definitely didn't
won.
win
He won.
easily.
He
Yeah.
won.
Hap-
Katie,
Hap-
where were you for the
game for
ice
Hap.
cream social in the pregame show?
Yeah.
Yeah, Katie, she missed it.
Katie, you
yeah,
missed
she
the ice
said
cream
that
social.
sliding catch was. I feel like me and Katie are always on the same page.
Yeah,
on these
because she's
shows.
always like justice for Ryan.
Exactly.
Anytime
Right.
Justice.
we-
I'm still
Right.
protesting the crook who you got lost. Like I'm like it's at the Supreme
It
Court
is
right now.
12:17
It's at the
a.m.,
Supreme
and
Court
we are
right now.
still talking
They're
about
reviewing
this.
it because I'm taking it all the way up.
Let's not talk about the Supreme Court on this podcast.
No, I'm just saying it's
Let's just let that
that's where
go.
it's gotten.
Katie,
to.
Katie was seeing Thor. That's why she wasn't in the earlier. So she just got.
Oh,
back
I
up
thought she was
to-
talking about Thor, the guy that came in and relief.
Yeah, me too. Did you have ice cream at Thor?
I
I
don't
never
know.
had ice
We'll
cream
wait
at a
and
movie,
see.
and that seems like that should be something that they should have more of
Yeah,
there.
why not?
Over Raisinets, yeah.
I forgot Thor came out today. I'm kind of. We should have just gone and see that instead. But we got a job to do.
Yeah, probably.
You're welcome. You're all welcome.
hey,
Just kidding.
I mean, seriously, though, the Morel home run was a rocket.
Oh yeah.
He pulled
doesn't
out the
matter where
driver,
they-
man.
Doesn't matter where they put him.
Doesn't. What was
Yo,
the stat? The
lineup.
the numbers are significantly better with him in the 7, 8, or 9 hole compared to the
Oh
leadoff.
yeah. Let me see if I can find
I
that.
don't know. I don't remember, but like Marquis put it up there.
Yeah, going into today, him batting first, he was hitting 240. 240 with a 726 OPS and 166 plate appearances. Leadoff. I'd have to do the math to add, but like 7th, 8th, and 9th, he was hitting over 300, over 1100 OPS in all three of those spots. A lot smaller sample size, of course. But we talked about when Ross moved him down from the leadoff spot. It was like, 20-something straight games that Morel was 26 was it? Like straight games that he played that he let off because he was doing really well right there. Ross loved him out of that spot. Then he hit he was slumping. Ross moved him down. Some of the talk was about, helping him find his timing, get his timing back. And since then, he's kind of picked things back up. He's had a couple duds of games where, maybe a hit or maybe an 0 for in there. But overall, like, he's picked things up since he's been, kind of moved lower in the order. Today he was, I think, hitting 8th, right? He was hitting 8th today. Obviously, he had that home run. So that's kind of what we talked about earlier. Is like, is he maybe just a lower of the order hitter? Managers talk about having that like second leadoff guy now once the order rolls over once, and you got this guy in the 8th or 9th spot who can kind of set the table for the second time through the order. Maybe that's him. Maybe that's a spot that he could thrive in. He's clearly doing it in a small sample. So again, this is one of those you see where
on
he
a
goes.
good team right now. On a good team, I think he'd be a very solid, 6 or 7 hitter, who, like. Again, if you had the right pieces around on your team, like, he brings so much versatility, and to me, you just get a lot of Chris Taylor vibes. We're playing the Dodgers. Like, I'm not saying he's Chris Taylor, but he's versatile defensively. And Chris Taylor, I feel like when I've watched the Dodgers play, I've seen Chris Taylor, batting like at the top of the lineup sometimes. I've seen him towards the bottom of the lineup sometimes too. So it's like, to me, 6, 7, either 9 or leadoff, like on a good team, like the way that he's playing this year, like.
Well, you'd take Chris Taylor.
I would take Chris Taylor.
That'd be a great high ceiling for him. I just think it's way too soon to decide what he's going to be, like deciding where he's going to hit in the lineup. We had the Sox guys were asking on the way out, so it's like, is he for real? Like, is he a real part of the future? Or Blackhawks guys, is he a real piece of the future? Like, what is he? And I think everything's hard to answer. It's a half a season, not even a half a season. Certainly, it's a positive outlook on a guy who's only 22 years old, was not one of your top 10 prospects, right? But the 22-year-old thing, you look at it and say, all right, if we're gonna say right now he's either a leadoff guy or the second leadoff guy at the bottom. Too early because he's still developing as a player. We don't know what he's going to be like next year. I don't want to cap him and say he's a bottom of the order guy. I don't know. He might have crazy power in 3. I just don't know. Like, I'm not a scout, but I think at 22, a guy who probably wasn't even expected to be at the major league level, but all of a sudden is here and playing well, I wouldn't cap anything on him, like any expectation. I wouldn't say this is where he needs to bat. It's fun for us to do, but I don't think we realistically have any idea where he's going to be.
No, for sure not. But, like, a lot of teams around the league are probably wondering, like, how did no one know about this guy?
Who is this guy?
Yeah. He's playing well enough to me where I can confidently sit here and say this guy is a reason why the Cubs should not be putting themselves through a 3 to 4 year rebuild, like a lot of us in the chat and everyone on Cubs Twitter have been arguing about what the Cubs are doing, because we don't know, because they have no transparency, and I'm not going down the rabbit hole because it's late and whatever, but like, he's played that well where you can confidently sit here and say that he is a part of the future. And not saying he's a core player, but he is a guy. He is someone that you can go into 2023 and be excited about. Who was there that we were going to be excited about in 2022 going into spring training? Who was the guy? We were like, oh, well, Wilson's
Brendan
still
Davis
here.
was the guy,
And Brendan
to be
Davis,
honest with you.
Yeah,
Nico
Brendan
Horner.
Davis. Yeah,
I was
maybe
Nico
excited
Horner
about
and Brendan
Nico
Davis,
Horner.
but Nico was more of like a question mark. Like, the excitement was, when's Brendan Davis being called
That's
up?
true.
And it really
That's
was
true.
probably the biggest.
And Christopher Morel kind of just like, he didn't take a spot, but like he entered. Like, who know if Brendan Davis played this year? I mean, I don't know if we would have even got a chance to see Morel.
Probably not.
You know,
Well-
that's a lot of things would have had to happen.
I don't
but-
know if that's even true, because I think the reason Morel came up was because at that point they were just like losing everyone. Like, the
That's
whole infielders, outfielders, everyone was going down. Like, they were dropping like flies, and they just needed someone who could play multiple. That's why you saw that first week he played like 4 or 5 different positions, because they needed someone that could just play good defense all over the field. Now he kind of found a home in center field there for a while. Has played second base a couple more times. I think he played third base the other day too. So he's still, but I think honestly the shot he got was because they needed someone that could just play a lot of positions. Like, more health on the Cubs, and Morel probably isn't up. Like, which is kind of weird to say, because again, he was in Double-A when they pulled him up. He was just like number 21 prospect. It's not like he was this guy that was just bursting out of the seams, and then we're like, okay, we can't wait to bring him up anymore. Like, he's just a guy that played really good defense all over the field at a time when they needed it.
It'd be nice if he is the guy that the Cubs find that everybody wasn't expecting to be real. No, like the type of guy that you see the Cardinals and all these different teams find where you're like, who is this guy? Where did they get him from? Like, where did he come from? Not top prospects that turn out to be really, really good players. That's how you build a really good team. Yes, some of your top prospects have to hit, but you also have to have a guy that comes out of nowhere. Frankly, Wilson Contreras is one of those guys. Wilson was not a top prospect, but all of a sudden it was just like, boom, he burst onto the scene and turned out to be a really great catcher. So maybe he's the next round of guys that comes around and does that for the Cubs. Jack R., I think it was said a good comment.
Dodgers fans yelling and booing about pitches 7
No,
inches
somebody
off
was
the
saying
zone.
that not the biggest fan of
Patrick Wisdom.
but it was a great at bat, and it was a really good at bat.
Oh, 9
It was.
pitch, we said, right?
Yeah,
nine or 10?
pitches.
Craig Kimbrel, man. The Dodgers, they need a late inning reliever, it looks like.
David
Especially
Robertson,
if,
hello.
Yeah, especially if Gratterall or whatever, however you say his name, is going to be out. He came out of the game because of an injury. I'm just saying, David Robertson for Mookie Betts sounds great to me, guys.
I would be willing to trade Efros for Mookie Betts.
There you go.
I'll go no further.
Well, we were vibing, baby.
Going back to that Patrick Wisdom comment, though, like even that bat, we said it was 9 pitches, and you look at like just the pitch tracker. So Kimbrel threw him 8 4-seamers, most of them up in the zone.
Yeah.
2 of them Wisdom took for balls. Last year he would have not taken them for balls. He would have swung at them, and then another 4 was, I think he fouled all of those off, something like that. Yeah, he didn't swing and miss at any of Kimbrel's pitches today. So it was 6 or 7 pitches like up in the zone, but close enough to the strike zone that Patrick Wisdom in 2021 probably would have swung right through. And I don't know if it's the bat with the huge knob again that we like to talk about,
Big
or
knob.
Just
really
love to talk about knobs.
I remember him saying early in the season, or maybe even spring training or something, that he, was really focused on, just laying off high pitches like that. And that seemed like so like, like simple, right?
Yeah.
Like anyone can do that or can say that, right? But if that's an approach that he really taken on, and then, if this bat has helped him too, like you're seeing a guy that, again, Craig Kimbrel, 6 4-seamers up in the zone, didn't swing and miss at any of them. Last year, we would have expected him to probably go strike 1, strike 2, strike 3, swinging right through him. So that's a good development for Patrick Wisdom. And, we talked about how his strikeout rate's down to like below 35%. I mean, if he can keep it there or even keep it going lower, I'm not saying, again, he's 30, going to be 31, but he's a productive player for a team that wants to try to compete in the next couple of years, I think, if he can kind of stay at this level. So,
yeah. I mean, see, I love to tweet the Patrick Wisdom trade value tweets. I also don't, because I've from the moment that he came up and lit the world on fire last year, and looking at where he was before the Cubs, I mean the
Cardinals.
The Cardinals let this guy go for a guy who's not even in the league anymore, and then the Rangers and the Mariners didn't even really give him a real chance. And this is a first-round talent.
Yeah.
That we're talking about. This isn't, nothing against Frank Schwindel, nothing against a few of these other guys, but Patrick Wisdom, a first-round talent. We talk about Clint Frazier and how he is a first-round pick, and all the narratives around him and why we were so upset about him not getting an opportunity when they DFA'd him. Like, Patrick Wisdom, he has got better since he came up with the Cubs, and getting full-time opportunities. It's like, man, just kind of wish he was maybe 28 or 29 instead, and then I'd be like, this guy can be on your team.
He still can be on your team.
He still can.
Yeah.
Like the on the flip side of not trading him, it's like you're not paying him anything, and if things don't work out in the like next year or the year after, like if he has a real down year next year, like at the end of the day, like who cares? Because it's not like you're paying him anything. You're just missing out on a prospect. But like, in the present, it's kind of like, well, you go in, if you keep him, you'll have power the rest of the year, and you at least go into next year knowing you have good defense and a power hitter who can play third, first, corner outfield from time to time. It's tough.
He also allows you to spend your free agency money somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to have a third baseman because he is cheap and he does two things well. He plays third base really well and he hits home runs. So those are two great values, especially for the Cubs. And so he allows you to, if you're going to, I know you could say the same thing about having Nico at short because he's shown he's a really good shortstop. But if you're going for Correa or one of those other guys, you figure out later where you're playing them. But
right.
It allows you to spend your money at another position other than third base. And in reality, you can be in the same situation with Wisdom again next year. If he hits 35 home runs this year, his value is only going to be the same or more next season. If he does it again, you're going to be in the same situation. You can say to another team, hey, we're still too far out, but this guy is great for you. He's under control. He's cheap. Here he is. Or you can roll it back with him again and continue to get the cheap guy at third base. So, I mean, Wisdom's a pretty good situation for the Cubs. They don't have to trade him.
Right.
Other guys they have to trade.
And
Wisdom they don't.
And I do think he is a credit to Cubs scouting. I mean, if there's anything, I know times are tough. They're not winning games or, en route to win like 65 games or whatever. But like him and Rafael Ortega, man, like out of nowhere, like if you had a good team with those guys on it, then you're like, man, look at the scouting that the Cubs have, and they'll be getting all this credit. But given the situation, that didn't work out. So it is what it is. But I didn't think that Patrick Wisdom and Rafael Ortega were going to be this good. I was hoping that Patrick Wisdom would just become a solid major leaguer, but I mean, me and Ryan are talking earlier about how he should be in the home run derby. I'm like, MLB wants to put stars in the.
He'd be a fun guy.
They want to put stars in the home run derby, man. Like I don't know. It's just, again, I'm not even saying Patrick Wisdom's playing like a star, but he's putting up he has an OPS near 800, 17 bombs. He walks. He has a very solid. He plays very solid defense at third and can play first, like I said, in corner outfield if you absolutely need him to. He's a fun player. He's someone that's easy to cheer for. So it's very tough for me to, I don't know, be like excited about the Cubs trading him because his situation is much different from like Happ or Contreras. It's
not a must trade. It's if the deal is right, go ahead and make it. If it's not, run it back with him again next year and see what happens.
Well, we said he's only arbitration eligible in 2024. He's not a free agent until 2027. Like,
yeah, that's exactly it. I don't think they're gonna move him. I don't. I think they're gonna hang on to him.
Yeah, and like he's not gonna be a star on like a contender, right? Like I think best case scenario, like if you're a World Series competitor and he's starting for you at third base, like you could definitely do worse. But I also don't think he's more than probably like a 6 or 7 hitter. Again, he's not like the guy you're relying on to carry your offense. Like he's gonna play great defense for you. He's probably gonna hit a lot of homers. Gonna strike out a lot too because that's just how his game.
Yeah.
But he's not gonna be the guy you're like counting on to lead your offense to the World Series. Like he's gonna be a good solid hitter. I think he could be a decent role player on a really really good team as long as he keeps this up. Again, it's been like a little over a year since the Cubs really gave him that shot, and he's done well. You've seen improvements from the things that his issues from last year. You've seen improvements, but you need to see that more because if the Cubs want to compete in 2024 and he's still in Chicago, you need to like make sure that he could be your third baseman or first baseman. We talked about maybe he can move over to first of a team that's ready to compete. Like he has to prove that still. He's doing well right now, but that's like, again, I think that's what we're saying about a lot of these guys. Ian Happ really has to prove it. Nico Horner still has to prove it. Like a lot of these guys have to prove it, but the signs that, specifically Wisdom, the signs that he's showing are like he can be a guy that's, he can be a good player on a competitor. He's not going to be an all-star. He's not going to be a franchise player, but he could be a good guy that fills a good solid role.
That becomes a fan favorite.
I'm telling you, it's a guy that plugs a spot, does some things pretty well, and because of the contract situation, allows you flexibility to spend your cash at other places. He doesn't hurt you at third.
No.
The strikeouts you don't like, but there's always going to be guys in your lineup that strike out. And as long as he's hitting the home runs, you can accept some of the strikeouts. And like you said, the bat tonight, which started the conversation, does give you hope that, he still can make progress as a player too, which he has, so let's wait and see. Cody, tell us about the bets.
Just came so close on the parlay, guys. So close. Other than that, whatever. I can't wait to open up my favorite app, PointsBet, tomorrow and get back on the horse, all right? Like I say at every show, it is my favorite app. And one reason, outside of the fact that I love gambling on sports, is because it's the best way to support CHGO. And when you download the PointsBet app and use code CHGO, if you do that right now, you get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. But that's not it. If you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content. You even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker, like what Ryan and Luke are wearing. You get to read the content that Ryan is writing, that he's gathering from Wrigley Field when the Cubs are at home, or just in general, because he's just that guy for us. So that's $2,000 in free bets, a free CHGO membership, and a free T-shirt from the CHGO locker, all for making more than a $50 first-time deposit at PointsBet. If you have any questions, you can email pointsbet@allchgo.com, and we'll help you out. You're home for live in-play betting. Just got even better. See an edge in the game you're watching. Is your favorite team prime for a comeback? I did not bet the Cubs live tonight either, and I hope you didn't either. But if you did, don't just watch the game. Bet along with it live tomorrow, perhaps. More live betting, more live markets, and the faster live cash outs. Follow along with your bets the moment they hit and stay in the live action all game long. Download the PointsBet app right now and use promo code CHGO. So what are you waiting for? It's time to elevate your live betting game. Once the game starts, don't just bet, live your bet life with PointsBet. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER for crisis counseling and referral services.
Jack R., I am not even going there. Question for Steve, Cody, and Ryan. A hypothetical. Cubs made no trades at the deadline. Okay, that's not even hypothetical. Hey, you're all wondering, it's like 12:40 in the morning. You're thinking, how's the old man up at this point?
That's what I'm wondering.
How is he even functioning right now?
Didn't even take a nap tonight.
How?
I'll tell you how. Because I had 2 bowls of ice cream. Sugar gets you rolling.
There you go.
And then I take AG1, Athletic Greens. I started taking it because I didn't have time. I wanted better gut health, more energy, an optimized immune system, and something to offset the 2 bowls of ice cream. Now I've been on it for several months. It's not super healthy tasting. It's just mild and tropical. I look forward to taking it in the morning. Whammo, does that stuff get you going. 1 scoop of AG1 and you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help start your day right. It's a special blend of ingredients supporting your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging, all of those things. I get such a boost of energy that I take it first thing in the morning, giddy up and go, lifestyle friendly, keto, paleo, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, all of those things. You're all good with AG1. You're investing in all-in-one nutritional insurance for less than $3 a day. It's recommended by professional athletes, has more than 7,000 5-star reviews. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health, arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. Just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs for that summer vacation with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/CHGO Cubs. Again, athleticgreens.com/CHGO Cubs to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. What do we got going in the chat?
Joel's talking about his knees.
Joel is just he might by the end of the year he might be my favorite commenter in the chat outside of Ravi.
I love this chat, man.
Like Ravi, I'm disappointed he's not here. He probably got 2 blazed and fell asleep during the game.
Yeah, he's out.
But
he's out.
But Joel just really loves to make me laugh.
He's been staring at a lava lamp for 2 hours.
Yeah.
I love everyone in this chat.
I love everyone in the chat too. Even
anybody
all the
that's here
people.
at 12:40, props to you.
Yeah.
Thank
Hey,
you.
I said in the chat earlier, you should like the video or hit that like button just because you stayed up after midnight to watch this Cubs team. That's dedication, man. We all deserve a pat on the back for staying up for this one, for this team.
Going back to Patrick Wisdom real quick. Just throw some StatCast stats at you.
Oh, analytics.
Would he be good in the home run derby, you asked? That's the question. His average exit velocity coming into today, top 6% of the league. Average or hard hit percentage, top 6% of the league. Average launch angle, 15th in the league. All those numbers combined, that's going to get you a lot of home runs. There's a reason that he's he has 17 home runs already on the year, man.
Yeah.
This guy could be in the home run derby.
I mean, I don't know
that he would say yeah, but
who's going to agree to do it. Like, Schwarber should be in it, but he doesn't probably want to do it again. He said he'd never do it again.
Yeah.
Because he thought it threw him into a slump that one year.
he also got cheated out.
You know,
of it.
And he got cheated. And he got
I
cheated.
personally,
Bad taste.
like if we're not talking about Cubs, like I'd love to see like Jazz Chisholm do it.
Yeah.
Like he's become like one of those like fun players, and he
Aaron Judge he should be forced to be in it.
Yeah. Jazz Chisholm, he doesn't look like someone who hits a ton of home runs, but he would get people to watch. I think that's for sure.
Rowdy Tellez from the
Shohei?
Brewers.
Rowdy would put up some numbers.
Yeah. Tellez would be good, yeah.
But
Dan Vogelbach.
I mean, I was looking at. I feel like Yordan Alvarez would probably get the call.
Yeah.
He'd be a beast. I don't know his home runs off the top of my head.
Who's that rookie with the Phillies?
Baum? Alec Baum?
Alec Baum's not a rookie, no.
Oh, he's not?
Schmidt.
There's a rookie with the Phillies that was in that top 10 Bleacher Report article the other day with like hard hit percentage and like top power hitters in the game. I can't remember his name. I'll look it up. But
Schwarber, he's not a rookie.
I know who you're talking about, but I
Don't
can't
call him a
think of
rookie.
the name off the top of my head. But I'm looking at it. It's like I feel like Shohei probably maybe he'll do it again because it's in L.A. or L.A. and Anaheim are different, but close enough.
Yeah.
But maybe he might not. Like you said, Schwarber.
Has Trout ever done it?
Maybe. I don't know.
I'm
It's
going to
not
say
ringing
no.
a bell.
But I mean, like Judge probably won't do it again. I think Stanton's done it in the past. I don't think he'd do it again. I mean, I feel like
Kyle Tucker.
Pete Alonso probably will be in it just to defend his championship.
So hasn't he won it like the last 2 years?
Yeah, feel like that. I don't know if that's true, but it feels like it. I know he won it last year.
Ronald Acuna would be another good one too.
Yeah.
Leiter Jr.
Did we figure out the name?
No, I can't find it. I'm trying to find it right now.
He said it's a rookie on the Phillies?
So, yes.
So while we're looking for that, some injury updates. Megan Montemurro, the Tribune. Adbert Alzolay. Tommy Hotovy said he's working up to long toss, 10 to 15 pitches pitch and catch on the field. He's early in his rehab process, still hopes to pitch this year. The quote was, starting to trend in the right direction. They don't want to rush him. Before the season started, we said it's certainly after the All-Star break minimum.
Yeah.
And, this is showing that it's exactly that. But you would love to at least get September out of him.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind
A
of
couple weeks in August, maybe.
It's kind of what we said on the pregame show, and I'm sure we'll kind of restate what happened with Brendan Davis, the news on him.
Yeah.
But it's kind of what we said is like, if they missed the whole season, that's bad. Like if you could get him for a month, Albert Alzolay specifically for a month at the end of the year, just let him get in. And I think this isn't the same story from Megan Montemurro from Tommy Hotovy, a quote from him. But it's like, if you can't get him in this year, then you start worrying next year about pitch low or a work low, pitch count, innings limit, all that kind of stuff. If you can get a good month out of him, get him. You're not going to get a ton out of him in a month, but at least kind of get him going back in baseball again. Then you can kind of come back in the next season and know, like, hey, like this, this is what we had him doing last year. Maybe we could pick it up a little bit more to start the season versus if he just misses the entire year. Like that's worst case. I think that is worst case scenario of what we even like imagined heading into the season. You said it earlier, but we were kind of talking about like, maybe July, for Alzolay when we first
I was thinking like maybe June even, just because like we didn't really know. You know what I mean?
So,
it's been I would say, and it's not his fault because of his injury, but that's probably my biggest disappointment of the year, honestly, for me, as far as like
even over the
players.
Brennan Davis.
Yeah, because going into this year, before we knew about the injury and everything, Albert Alzolay was setting himself up to be, in my opinion, at least a in the middle of that rotation.
Well, you would have thought if you were saying Steele, Keegan Thompson, Albert Alzolay, you would have put him at the top of the list.
Oh, for sure. And like going into the year, we didn't know that. Like I felt like Keegan Thompson was a reliever, and that was all he was ever going to be. And Steele, I thought he was the one who had a higher upside as a starter, but he still had a lot to prove. So I didn't really know how to feel about those two guys. It was part of the whole we're exploring. You know, they were part of that section. Yeah. Alzolay was one guy that I felt like going into the year like, well, if he can take that next step, because we saw him have really good starts last year. Also really bad ones, and if he could figure out how to pitch to lefties, because that's where he gave all the homers up to was lefties last year, then you would feel good about him going into when they were competitive again. But
you could still get that at the end of the season, and if he
sure.
pitches well at the end of the season, and Thompson and Steele show that as well, then you have some sort of young core where you can say, all right. Let's build on this next season. You feel pretty good about bringing those guys back.
It just depends on how many. If he is able to come back, it depends on how many starts.
If they are starts, maybe they're in the bullpen. We don't even know the way they bring him back.
And you saw that at the end of last season when he started getting closer to his innings limit. I think he came off the IL maybe in August or something, and they kind of moved him to the bullpen, had him do multi-innings. He had that one with Justin Steele. Or Steele pitched the first 5. Alzolay came out and pitched a 4-inning save.
That's true.
And we talk about it with Keegan and Steele, but at the same time, it's with Alzolay too. If his role ends up being as a really good multi-inning weapon out of the bullpen, that's not a bad worst case scenario. That's not a bad floor for him.
Right.
Obviously, he had the stuff, and he has he just has a great energy about him. But he had the stuff. Or he looks like he has the stuff to be a good starting caliber pitcher. Again, like you mentioned, he has to figure out how to pitch to lefties because the splits are bad.
Yeah, splits are bad.
So if he ends up being a guy you bring in for 2 innings, you get a spot in the lineup where hey, we got 6 out of 7 batters coming up are all against righties. If that's his role and that's a guy you bring in like that, that's not a bad thing either. But you definitely want him to pitch this season so you can kind of tell where he's at, because he hasn't pitched. If it gets to be September, that's 11 months without pitching in a competitive baseball game.
Well, the Braylon Marquez situation's worse than that.
Yeah,
you don't even have an update on him.
So we'll go with Alzolay. You just want him to bat.
I say
pitch.
Alzolay is the most disappointment of the season for me, because going into the year, I looked at the rotation. You saw you had Stroman. You were hoping Hendricks was going to bounce back from 2021. Alzolay had shown progression and optimism. And then Wade Miley was a guy who ate a ton of innings for the Reds. And, then after that it was some Steele or, someone like that. And, and I was thinking, okay, this rotation's not awful. It's not bad. And then just the injuries all piled up, he gets hurt, and for me, him being a disappointment is just, it has nothing to do with him. It's a disappointment because it's just a step back. And this guy's this guy was the Cubs' top prospect for a while.
Oh my God.
In 2018,
before
2019.
Marquez, before Steele, before Keegan, 2019, he was the guy.
Yeah. And so
he was the pitching prospect
and the fact
everyone was excited about.
Right. And again, the fact that he was a pitching prospect, you were you clung on to that. And so, again, we've seen really great outings from him. We've seen him be really good in the pen, and it's just I'm more disappointed about him being injured than anything, because at least this year they could have really figured out at the end of the day, is he a starter? Is he better in the bullpen? I think he still could be a starter, but again, we just need to see him come back and perform. But it's been a tough road in terms of his development.
And the update from Tommy Birch on Brennan Davis is that he hopes to play at some point this season. We talked about that pregame, same situation as Alzolay. You would love to see him get some at-bats and play somewhere, even if it is just the Arizona Fall League. That would be better than not playing at all the rest of this season. So,
sure,
very similar situation for a guy who is now the top prospect for the Cubs organization. Speaking of prospects, Owen Casey, walk-off grand slam.
Ooh. Yu Darvish trade, baby.
Got some guys. There are some guys down there that raise some eyebrows. You go, huh?
Only 19. He's in South Bend. He's been in South Bend all season. He was in Myrtle Beach last year.
He's hitting like 300 too, isn't he? Yeah.
So I don't know if they'll promote him to Double-A before the end of the year, but I would imagine he'd be in Double-A next year. And
once you get to Double-A,
you never know. I mean, Morel was in Double-A, right? I'm just saying, maybe next year, maybe 2024. I don't know. But again, only 19. So.
Yeah. Also got to say what's up to Rowan Campbell. Said greetings from South Africa.
Wow.
That's pretty cool. I don't know if he.
Yeah, very cool.
He likes my tweets all the time.
Oh, we
Shout out to
appreciate you
man.
watching. He says he watches
Thanks,
our postgame
Rowan.
on YouTube. It's great.
Thanks
We
for hanging
appreciate
out.
that.
Yeah,
Thanks,
and
Rowan.
especially this. I mean,
South Africa. Wow.
Yeah.
I got the name of the guy I was thinking of. I was thinking of Derek Hall of the Phillies. He's only had about 30-something at-bats, but
Yeah,
he's hitting
he-
a bunch of home runs. And also the guy in the top 10 list is a guy from the Orioles, Adley Rushman, was the other person I was thinking of, too.
Yeah, the catcher.
I wonder if they'll like go with like a bunch of rookies though. Like I didn't.
It's usually how these things go.
wasn't
It's
he-
like the dunk contest in the NBA. You bring up the new exciting
Yeah,
guys who
well,
are willing to do it.
Didn't the dude from the Phillies like just get called up at like the end of June though? Like
It's been pretty
it's been like a
recent.
week.
It's been pretty
2 weeks, not even 2 weeks.
I think a little bit longer than that, but it's recent
see.
for sure.
I mean, I'd rather see Wisdom.
I mean, here's the thing.
What does Wisdom have to lose?
No,
Good
that's what I'm
exposure-
saying. If,
good exposure for him.
Yeah.
It's
well,
only
he
gonna
said
make him
he
more
said
money.
that he said that if they called, he would do it. Like he would want
Absolutely.
to do it. It's just like why wouldn't they call him? You know, like it's a guy that like people around the league like. Nah, he's not a household name, but there's like people around the league that have like heard of Patrick Wisdom, especially with how hot he was last year when he first came up. Like people have heard the name,
Yeah.
and you know he's had a couple stretches this year.
You'd think MLB would, not that they're gonna the Cubs don't deserve a ton of All-Stars or anything like that,
No.
but like you'd think the MLB would want to get as many Cubs-related players into different competitions just because they know the fan base is huge and they want people to watch. Grow the game. Thank you.
Grow the game.
Grow the game. Hey,
If you build it,
Patrick
they will
Wisdom-
come, I
Well,
think.
and he
Patrick
plays-
Wisdom would be fun.
He plays for the Cubs. Like it's a huge market team. Like to have a guy playing for the Cubs.
He's
you're
going to
get
be
a
in the
lot-
corn game.
Yeah, there you go.
He's gonna be on the big poster.
I remember when we first saw that poster and was like, you saw that it was like Patrick Wisdom was on the poster for the next year's Field of Dreams game. We're like, man, that's really how like far the ship has sunk. There's no Bryant, no Rizzo, no Baez. There's like Patrick Wisdom who had been up with the Cubs for like at that point like 2.5
At least
months.
if
something
they were
like
to
that.
make
Yeah.
a new poster, at least they could put Seiya on there or Ian Happ. I mean, I don't even mind that Patrick Wisdom's still on. He's having a good year.
I'm saying I didn't mind it. Just like it's like at that point, it's like man, this guy's hasn't had 3 full months on the Cubs. Maybe it's like about
I wish the
3 with
MLB
Cubs.
could like change the game, like put 2 other teams because like as much as I look forward to like watching it just because it is that game, but you know on the internet the Cubs and Reds are just going to be they're going to be made fun of all night. It's just I don't look forward to it.
They should reschedule it.
They should. That's what I'm saying.
You
They
know
should
what?
just ask
You
2
know
other
what? We
teams
decided
to
we're
do it.
not going to do it this
Why
year.
is it not Cubs Cardinals? I think I've asked that.
Well,
like,
that's weird too.
But I think it's just
So
because it's
weird.
Cubs.
Yeah.
Cubs Reds are 2 like really historic.
Reds are the first team.
teams,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
1800s. I don't know. By the way, Derek Hall was called up, made his debut on June 29th. It's been like 8 games that he's in the big league.
Yeah, I thought you meant Adley Rushman. Rushman's been up for a
No,
while.
Adley Rushman's been up for most of the season, right?
Yeah.
No, Derek Hall.
Derek Hall has 32 at bats, I want to say, but he's got 4 homers, and
Yeah,
so
he's-
he's hitting it far.
Katie wants to know how they pick the home run derby. Is it just vibes?
I think like
I mean, I don't know.
Ask Christopher Morel. That guy hits moonshots.
I think they
He's
ask a
got
lot. I
vibes.
think they ask a lot of guys and they say no.
Yeah.
Similar to the dunk contest. Now it's just kind of like,
Christopher
good.
Morel would actually be. He would be fun if they weren't going to ask
But
Wisdom.
Wisdom would be a more true power guy to throw
sure.
out. Like
Yeah.
if you were
Yeah.
trying to put on a show with home runs.
Yeah.
Hey, if you enjoy CHGO, one way to help us continue to grow is download that PointsBet app. Use the code CHGO when you sign up. Not only you get those 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000, but if you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, get a free CHGO membership. Unlocks all the content. Get one of these sweet shirts of your choice out of the CHGO locker. Any questions, email pointsbet@allchgo.com, and we will help you out. In case you missed it, online sign-up available in Illinois. You can download the PointsBet app right now, register your account start to finish, all from your phone. I always say, if Kevin can do it, you can do it. You'll be signing up with the fastest sportsbook. It's easier than ever. What are you waiting for? Once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. Gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. Did you see the Chris Sale meltdown?
Yep.
I have a couple questions about it.
Did I see the Chris Sale?
Everybody's seen it that's been on the internet today, right? So he's down in the minors, trying to come back.
Yeah.
Had a horrible outing. Starts
like
ripping a
5
TV
guys.
off the wall.
Yeah.
I think
has
he was
a-
just ripping the whole wall.
Yeah, temper tantrum. I have two questions. Is one of his teammates taking that from the dugout? That's what it looks like. It looks like a teammate has the phone out. Otherwise, who would it be?
I thought
Because
maybe
it's
it was,
down
it
the
was a
dugout into the
reporter.
clubhouse.
I was wondering if it was maybe a fan like reaching over and
Going like this.
reaching
That
over, just
could
like
be.
kind of putting the phone
Because
down.
if it's a
here.
teammate, it's really funny.
It was
like
definitely a
AAA guy.
reporter. It was. I remember seeing like where the video, because it ended up
No,
getting
but it-
picked up by other people. I thought a reporter. She's the one who tweeted the video out. She didn't give anyone credit. If I'm wrong, let me know.
But in that,
I don't know how she got it, but
what's what I'm saying is like in that, like no reporters on the field mid game, like that.
it looked like it was from the dugout, and Taylor
Joel
McGregor
says
hangs out in the dugout.
a local Fox reporter, he believes. ABC or Fox reporter.
Maybe they
okay,
got it
so that was
sent to them
question
or
number
something?
one. And then
That's
question
weird.
number two is, who has better temper tantrums? Big Z, Carlos Zambrano, or Chris Sale?
Oh, Big Z.
I 100% say, here's the deal. Chris Sale cut up some jerseys.
Yeah.
What is the point of that? Like, I don't even understand what that was about. He didn't want to wear a
Entire
jersey.
Locker rooms jerseys,
He
all
cut-
of them, not
'cause-
just like a couple.
Because
all of
he
them.
was afraid they were just going to say. In fact, Rick Hahn was just on the radio or a podcast talking about it, saying he got the call, and they were like, "Yeah, he cut up his jersey." And Robin Ventura was like, "Well, get him another one." He's like, "No, he cut up all the jerseys." I mean, first of all, he's a lunatic. Okay,
Yeah.
and that's great. No,
That 2016 White Sox team, man, between Chris Sale cutting up jerseys and Drake LaRoche. I mean,
yeah, I mean,
let me.
But
like, that's
Big
a
Z-
year I really will remember more so besides the Cubs 2016 World Series.
Big Z was beating up water fountains, fighting
Gatorade coolers.
tried to fight two teammates, did
Yeah.
fight one, gave a black eye to a teammate.
Yeah. Threw
Fought
a
him
ball
in the dugout
all the way to
and
the
in the
bleachers.
clubhouse.
He threw an umpire out himself.
Yeah, threw the ball into the bleachers.
Yeah.
He,
Nah.
on opening day, he got kicked out of the game when he gave the umpire the glasses look. Like Big Z eats Chris Sale for lunch.
Oh, for sure. Now, I do have my thoughts on because there are a lot of people on social media who were like, what Chris Sale, saying what Chris Sale did was uncalled for and we shouldn't support bad behavior. And it's like, as someone who literally has said that Carlos Zambrano is one of his favorite players ever, I can't sit here and criticize Chris Sale for just being pissed off and then going and destroying a locker room in which he then, I'm pretty sure, paid the minor league team all the money to fix the stuff. I don't know. Social media is it can be so funny because people get so mad over the littlest things. Like Chris Sale was pissed off because he had a bad outing, walked 5 minor leaguers, and this guy's spent 2 years trying to get back after winning the World. I mean, he won the World Series with the Red Sox in 2018, got this big gigantic contract extension, and has not lived up to it because he can't stay on the field. I don't blame him for being pissed off because he sucked. I absolutely don't blame him, and I think people who are getting pissed off about him getting pissed off is stupid. So,
By the way, did a little bit of research. Looks like it's just some guy named Brian O'Neill. Twitter profile says your #1 source for finding homes in Worcester County. Some guy from Massachusetts took the video, and NBC just used it with gave him credit, something like that. But I'm looking at his Twitter page, and all it is he's just listing houses and stuff.
It's a real estate
Wow.
agent.
Worcester, Massachusetts. So I'm like, I think it was just a fan that honestly, I think I was right. I think he just reached his phone over.
Yeah,
and
he heard probably heard the first part of it. Was like, ooh,
I don't know. Look at the bricks. That looks like the entrance from the dugout into the clubhouse.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I said
I'm
to you,
confused.
I wonder if it's a teammate because it looks like he's right there in the dugout at the edge of the door, going down the steps, and he can see. But why would a player have a phone sitting in the dugout?
Why would he be?
And why would he videotape
Yeah,
it?
right?
I just wanted to share my 2 cents on people who were upset about it. Again, it's be upset about something else, man. There's other things to be upset about.
Yes, you could be upset that the Cubs lost to the Dodgers if you want.
Absolutely.
But I don't think that's necessary either. Keegan Thompson, the mayor,
Back.
on the mound in Game 2. Cubs still looking Still with a chance to win their 5th straight series, but now it's more difficult.
No doubt.
It does help having Keegan Thompson on the mound for this one. 4 innings, 7 hits, 2 runs against the Red Sox. But again, he's been, if you had to pick your 3 highlights of the season or pleasant surprise of the season, it's Nico Horner, Chris Morel, Keegan Thompson, and Justin Steele together. Right?
Yeah. So from my memory, after Keegan's last start, you said 4 innings, right?
4 innings, 7 hits, 2 runs.
Yeah.
There was.
It wasn't his best outing of.
Well, it
some,
was like
but
what, like 6 of those hits were like just infield dribblers.
Yeah, it was
that
the
got
infield
like,
hits game. Oh, that game was so annoying.
Yeah, it was a lot of because it was that second inning, and I want to say there
the
was
Red
a
Sox
misplay.
were pounding the ball into the ground super soft, and like they were just beating it down the line. It was just so annoying. Like
Yeah.
Keegan Thompson did everything right in that game. He didn't even, that was not a bad start. He allowed base runners because Cubs defense couldn't help him
Yeah.
out. But
No, I
again, they
remember
were
that
all
second
like
inning.
It was like
It was like-
6 infield hits.
like 40 pitches that second inning because he's
Yeah.
Wait, and then again, that's another place where it's like you're glad Ross kind of let him go and let him try to finish the thing out because that's another learning opportunity for him. It's like, Ross wants to win every game, and that's his job as the manager.
Right.
But there's also spots where like, hey, Keegan Thompson, if he's going to be a guy that you're going to count on as part of this next great Cubs team, like he's got to learn to pitch through some of that stuff. Like you're not going to get the best defense every game. There's going to be times where that 6 hits are going to be infield hits that guys beat out.
I don't remember what his pitch count was at the end, but
I'm looking it up right now.
I remember being a little surprised that he came out after 4 because in the start before that they pushed him, and we talked about how we supported that. So,
he was at 86
just to see if he could do it.
Yeah, but
I mean, he ended up only giving up the 2 earned runs, which is like good. It was just like there was a lot of those hits were just like, hey, let's dribble her to third base that no one can get to, and then you're gonna beat it out. I remember what inning was that in? 4th inning, something like that.
That was
that was most of that was in the 4th inning.
Sunday game against the Red Sox, right? Where they
Yes.
could have swept.
Yeah, no.
Kevin, by the way, can you sound the alarm? We hit 1 a.m.
There you go.
What alarm do you want? We got the Glockenspiel, we got the DJ air horn, bicycle horn, applause.
It would surprise us. Give us
How about this
your
one?
best shot.
There
There
you
it
go.
is, 1 a.m.
It is.
Happy New Year,
He
everyone.
made it,
This
guys.
was that 4th inning. Verdugo, single ground ball to third baseman. Christian Vasquez, single ground ball to third baseman. Cordero, single on a pop-up to first baseman. Alfonso Rivas, I do remember that one. Dahlbeck, single. That was a line drive to left fielder Ian Happ, so that was one of those good ones. And then, I think, Duran walked. He walked in Duran and walked in a run. That was the go-ahead 2-1. But it was like, again, it was one of those where like everything just kind of was not working out in his favor, and it was like good for Ross for not letting him work through that, and Keegan kind of showed it. He limited the damage to 2 runs. Could have been a lot worse. I don't know. It was one of those development opportunities that I like. You could have taken him out, but at the same time, like it's one of those. Let him ride and see what he could do, man. It's like Keegan Thompson's supposed to be. He's good. He's been really good this year.
Yeah.
And if he's going to be a next great Cubs team kind of guy, he's got to learn to pitch through those things. So I was like, when I saw Ross kind of leave him in and let him work through that, I was like, okay, like I think that's a good call. I liked that. I thought it was a good call. So people might not have liked it, but I think that was another good spot. Like what was the other game again that he kind of the same thing. It was the start before that, right? It was when Ross let him work through something and then sent him back out there for the 7th, and then he gave up two base runners and like whatever.
And then a 3-run jack.
Might have been. Well, that was when Rowan Wick gave up the home run.
You guys lost me at 1 o'clock. Sorry, you lost
Cody
me at 1
put
o'clock.
his feet up and goes,
Cody threw it. That was his vibes for it's 1 a.m.
Okay. Well, so we can get out of here.
Yes.
All I'm gonna say is, when Keegan Thompson faced the Dodgers, it was the game where the Cubs stupidly started Daniel Norris.
Yes.
And then he got through 1 inning and then walked the bases loaded in the 2nd inning, and then they brought in Keegan Thompson he walked the bases loaded with no outs off the top of my memory. So if I'm completely wrong, I'm sorry, but I do remember he came in with the bases loaded and less than 2 outs, and the Dodgers imploded there. They didn't implode. They beat up on Thompson that way. And then he ate like 3 or 4 more innings and the Cubs lost like 9-1, something like that. They haven't they haven't faced Keegan Thompson as a starter. Again, Leiter Jr. He gave up the long ball tonight. I think the Cubs have a good opportunity to at least, again, have another competitive game tomorrow with Keegan Thompson. We'll see. Keep the ball in the yard, and who knows? We'll be doing postgame from my apartment, though, so I'm excited about that.
That's right. Two quick chat mentions here. David Snyder says, the only ice cream I got is no sugar ice cream. It's really lousy. That's not even worth it. You might as well just have fruit at that point.
Yeah, man.
No sugar ice cream. I feel bad for you.
Get the Getter app and let them deliver it to you in 5 minutes. It's awesome.
Jack R sums it up.
Like a revelation when that thing started. I remember.
Oh yeah.
Jack R says 2 a.m., 1 a.m. Central. Cubs fans care. 41 people still watching. They deserve a good team next year.
Absolutely. We still got.
We're with you, man. We're with
Yeah.
you. And thanks to everybody for dropping by the CHGO post-game show / ice cream social 1.0. A big success. The chocolate chip cookie dough was delicious. And we might have some leftovers even, too. So that's
we even
good.
had pizza. Shout out to the Blackhawks crew
Yeah,
for
they
doing their
got a little
4-hour
pizza.
show
Ooh,
and having
4
some
hours.
pizza left over.
And they're going to be going early tomorrow morning if you're interested in the Hawks, too,
Yeah.
for the rest of the rounds of the draft. Cubs lose 5-3. Keegan Thompson on the hill on Friday. We will have a post-game show for you around this same time Friday night or early Saturday morning. We hope to see you then.